One Piece Chapter 1093 continued the fight between Luffy and Kizaru on Egghead. This fight has been incredibly exciting for the fans to witness so far. In the previous chapter, Luffy used his Snake Man form to deal with Kazaru, only to find out that it wasn't enough. At the end of the chapter, he tapped into the powers of Gear 5, and fans knew that it was coming sooner rather than later. One Piece Chapter 1093 continued the fight from there onwards, and it is safe to say that this chapter delivered a fun battle between these two powerhouses. At the same time, other fights were also touched upon, while major plot developments took place in regard to Dr. Vegapunk. Now let's begin with Chapter 1093. The vast majority of One Piece Chapter 1093 was of course the battle between Luffy and Kazaru. This fight started with Luffy hurling him away from Egghead and attempting to throw him into the ocean. The idea was quite smart, however, given that Kazaru is the fastest man in the world of One Piece and at the same time can fly. This idea would never have worked. He easily changed his trajectory and returned to the battlefield using Yasukani no Magatama, immediately appearing in front of Luffy once again. Kazaru displayed a completely new technique. This time around he created many clones of himself using his light powers. This gave Luffy quite a headache, as he could not figure out which the real body was. However, in the end, he ended up destroying them all with minimal effort. That is precisely when he realized that Kazaru is actually not looking to fight him. This fight isn't what fans thought it would be. Simply put, this is not a proper battle of Luffy versus Kazaru. Instead, this is Luffy trying to stop Kazaru from assassinating Dr. Vegapunk. The Marine Admiral only cares about killing Vegapunk, and he wants to do it as quickly as possible. He is not interested in taking on Luffy, because that would be detrimental to his goal, as he would likely end up losing. The fact that he is the fastest in the world only benefits him, as he can easily get to Vegapunk quickly and get the job done. That is precisely what he attempted in this week's chapter when he tried sniping him from above while the scientist was on the move. However, Luffy, thankfully, got in the way and ended up eating the light thrown by Kazaru. This, while funny, might end up turning into a fascinating plot point where Luffy absorbs this power and utilizes it in battle moving forward. By all means, the fight between Luffy and Kazaru in One Piece Chapter 1093 was very fun. However, the realization that the Admiral was looking to avoid the fight altogether certainly took the fans by surprise. Luffy versus Kazaru was certainly not the only fight that was focused on in One Piece Chapter 1093. The manga also took the fans' attention elsewhere and showcased Zoro fighting against Lucci. This fight began as soon as Luffy versus Kazaru started, but fans did not get to see a glimpse of it in the previous chapter. This week, a proper glimpse was provided of these two characters fighting. Both of them look to be going all out from the get-go. Zoro is utilizing all three of his swords, and much to the surprise of the fans, he is also tapping into the powers of Enma, which means Zoro is actually utilizing his King of Hell mode and fully letting out his color of Supreme King Haki to help him deal with Rob Lucci. Meanwhile, the CP0 agent is not holding back either. He has already entered his awakening and is using his newfound powers to fight against the Straw Hat Swordsman. These two seem to be evenly matched, and both have been shown to be great users of Haki so far. Zoro, despite tapping into the color of the Supreme King, is not able to slice Lucci at all. This just goes to show the incredible Haki as well as the physical prowess that Lucci possesses. Fans also got to see Luffy telling Zoro that he would be willing to help him if he needed it. However, the swordsman asked him to leave this task to himself. Zoro immediately noted that there was a gulf between Lucci and Luffy. He told the CP0 agent that his level of strength does not see him fit enough to fight against Luffy, to which he replied that he would be glad to take the head of an Emperor's number 2. One Piece Chapter 1093 also focused quite a bit on the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates. Currently, Jinbei is staying away from all the fighting, and his job is to carry the belongings of Vegapunk to the back of the island. Meanwhile, Vegapunk himself, along with Atlas, Sanji, and Frankie, are going to the Fabrio phase. Jewelry Bonnie, who was kicked by Kazaru in the previous chapter, was seen being rescued by Sentomaru. She is already fighting against the Marines on the Fabrio phase and was seen having altered their ages. So far, it appears that she has not run into any Vice Admiral of the Navy. However, sooner rather than later, she is going to be faced with powerful enemies. Thankfully for her, Sanji is on the way, and these two are likely going to team up to fight against the Navy down below. As for Vegapunk, the goal right now is to rescue Bonnie. he seems particularly concerned about her, even though fans have seen him sacrifice things close to him without much regard for them in the past. Vegapunk wants to rescue her, and at the same time change the orders of the pacifistas to have them become allies in this war. One Piece Chapter 1093 saw Vegapunk and the Straw Hat Pirates finally get to the Fabrio phase, and there, they successfully changed the orders that were given to the pacifistas by Kizaru. Atlas ordered them to aid them in battle and destroy all the Marines. It appears that the order that Kazaru gave them was successfully overridden, and now the pacifistas are going to be allies. However, this is not going to be the case for long. Fans know for a fact that Saturn is on one of the vessels, and this is precisely why he was brought to the island. Thanks to him, the pacifistas can be turned against the Straw Hat Pirates and Vegapunk at a moment's notice. The last panel of the chapter saw Saturn looking very ominous, and this pretty much confirms that he's going to join the battle very soon. The first thing that he's going to do is switch the pacifistas once again and turn them against the Straw Hat Pirates. Vegapunk mentioned in the chapter that he who holds the key to the pacifistas will win the war. Of course, the pacifistas will be turned against the Straw Hat Pirates and the crew will begin to be cornered. That certainly won't be the end of things though. Fans know for a fact that the Iron Giant has awakened, and it is going to be the biggest ally of the Straw Hat Pirates. For all that to unfold, however, fans will have to wait. If the Marines take back control of the Seraphim, then everyone will figure out that a Gorosei is on the ship. We're finally gonna see Saturn do something. I don't think Bonnie is younger than she looks. It's been mentioned that the effects of her powers are only temporary, but she's in the adult Bonnie form most of the time. I think Vegapunk is referring to her as a little girl, because he's very close to Kuma, and so he has a huge soft spot for his daughter. And I hope we get a look at whatever Saturn's weird zone powers are in the next chapter. Presumably Zone, given the silhouettes from the Cobra chapter some time ago. And also through Lucci's words, One Piece creator Eiichiro Oda confirmed Zoro's crucial role as the second strongest man in the Straw Hats, behind Luffy. With the latter now being a Yonko, Zoro, as his right-hand man, must support him to the best of his abilities, like Rayleigh did with Goldie Roger back in the day. As Luffy and Zoro are no longer just a pirate captain and his right-hand man, but a Yonko and his number 2, One Piece fans are thereby amazed by the acknowledgement of Zoro's status, as well as emotionally touched. Looking back at how many things happened since the green-haired swordsman and Luffy first met in Shelltown as the second strongest Straw Hat after Luffy, pirate hunter Zoro has always been emphasized as the unofficial but factual first mate of the crew. No other Straw Hat was ever portrayed the same as Zoro, not even Sanji or Jinbei. Zoro and Sanji are sometimes put in a similar class as the Wings, the two crew members who can help Luffy the most. Still, while maintaining that dynamic, One Piece author Eiichiro Oda has clearly and consistently set Zoro apart, putting him on a much higher pedestal. Well people, thank you for watching, and please take the like button and throw it off a building. And please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any daily uploads.